Hey, what's up everyone, Nomadic Gaijin here. Today I'll be taking a look at Japan's largest shopping mall, Koshigaya LakeTown, as the state of emergency is lifted, and I want to see how Japan is handling the pandemic at the moment. So less than a week ago, Japan decided to end their state of emergency across the country. I'm a cautious guy, and looking at the situation around the world, I don't think we're quite in the clear just yet. But I was curious, what do Japanese people think? Will they maintain caution? Will they proceed as usual? Or will life be completely different? So I decided to check out Japan's largest shopping mall and find out exactly how things are different. What precautions the mall is taking, what precautions the people are taking, just to kind of see what life is like. And I was pretty surprised. So check it out. This is Koshigaya LakeTown. This area was nothing. I mean, it was just swamp and marsh and grass. Here's an old photo, check it out. But essentially, they decided to make a huge community around this place, and it's beautiful. There's a massive lake now, there's nice houses all around it, there's houses and apartment complexes scattered throughout the area, and then they decided to put Japan's largest shopping mall right there. And this place is pretty cool. It's only about a 30-minute drive or bike ride from my house, so I get to go there quite often. With a total floor space of 393,000 square meters, which contains a gross leasable space of 245,000 square meters and over 700 shops. This place is huge. To give you an idea how impressive this is, let's take a look at the largest shopping mall in the US by floor space, and that is the Mall of America. A Mall of America has about 550 shops, and its gross leasable area is only slightly larger than Koshigaya LakeTown's, while the total floor area is obviously quite huge because America. Consisting of three major structures, it is connected to Koshigaya LakeTown Station, which provides easy access, which is a couple-minute walk right into the mall. Kaze, which forms the first building connected to the station, is a three-story, all-indoor, massive building. And it's connected to Mori, which stands for forest, by a second-floor, all-enclosed walkway, which has windows, and it looks pretty cool from the outside. You check it out. And then from Mori, you can also connect via an outdoor passageway to the Outlet Mall, which is an outdoor two-story facility. Mori is also 3 stories indoors like Kaze, so this place is incredibly massive. You could spend an entire day walking around and you still won't see everything. Now, I have never actually walked all 3 floors of the main buildings and 2 floors of the Outlet Mall in one day. I'm wondering, I want to try that sometime because I think it might be kind of a marathon, but I've never done it, and I think it would take a huge amount of time to do that. Things like this touchscreen vending machine, which is cool. You can go ahead and pick out what you want, and it comes up on the screen, tells you how much, all that, and you can use many devices for it. To this directory here, which is all digital, you can check out Kaze, Mori, and the Outlet Mall, represented by this duck. And then you can see what shop you're looking for and easily track it down, because you're going to need that with 710 shops. Thanks to these and other features, the mall has a feeling of quite a high-tech place. Some areas look really futuristic and fancy, while other areas look like, well, a normal shopping mall. And the lake itself, which is right outside the Outlet Mall section of the mall, is gorgeous, and it has a nice bike track that goes all the way around it. So I often bike there and do a loop a couple times. It's really fun. And it's pretty loose on its rules regarding like having picnics and things. So we can have, for example, you can have some beer and food anywhere on this lake, and it's fine. Barbecues are a little bit more rigid, but they have this barbecue station, which right now doesn't look like much because, yeah, pandemic. Right now that you know about Koshigaya LakeTown Mall, we can go ahead and check out the inside and see what it's like as far as what preventative measures are being taken and how people are reacting. Let's go check it out. It was packed. Yeah, it's a weekend, but there were just so many people here, I couldn't believe it. If nobody was wearing a mask, you would think that this was just a regular time, maybe last year or 2 years ago. There'd be no way to tell that this is in the midst of a global pandemic. That's just insane. The only difference is about 95% of the people were wearing masks, although I was particularly surprised that there are still couples walking around, no mask, just ba-da-da-da-da, like, as if nothing had happened and the world was all back to normal. Now, this mall opened up just 3 days after the declaration of emergency was lifted. That's pretty quick. And the only main preventative measure that I could see from the outside was that they changed their hours a little bit. They shortened them a little bit, which I'm not sure at this point how much that makes a difference with how many people I saw inside. All the doors to the mall and all the areas around the mall had these little devices set up to measure your temperature. So it had a little camera on it. It looked like an iPhone or something. Had a little camera on it, and if it was green, you're all good. And if it was red, well, you got a fever, please get out. The problem is there was no regulation. Nobody was asking you to check. There was a little voice on the thing saying, please do this, but as you can imagine, people were just walking by in crowds and nobody was actually doing it except for a couple of young people just curious about it and playing around, messing around with it, and a few old people being like, what is this? But that's about it. Most people just walk by. I actually didn't even notice it when I walked in because there were just so many people walking around and it was off to the side. So I'm not sure how effective a device like that is, and it would be a little bit difficult with the amount of doors and entryways and the size of this place to have someone at each post regulating, but I think that's what they need if they really want to take that seriously. In a couple places I saw air circulators. That's at least a step to try to circulate air throughout the mall, and that's good. And one nice thing is that because of the massive size of this mall, we're not in small quarters. That probably does help a little bit. The restaurants were almost all open with indoor and outdoor seating, and I was surprised because they had the social distancing spaces outside for waiting in line, and they'd set up chairs spaced out, which is smart. But inside, it looks like people were sitting wherever they wanted. So once you get in the restaurant, they kind of gave up on that social distance thing. So I'm not sure how helpful that is. I walked by this one buffet and I saw people wearing gloves as they're serving, which is good, but really we shouldn't be probably using buffets at all at this point. Luckily, we still had all the shops with the funny names open, and so I can get a laugh while walking by. That's always nice. The event area was closed, which is good because that generally draws a huge crowd in a small space, so I think that was a responsible point. Although I don't know if I was just missing the event or if they had canceled all events completely. The movie theater was in full swing, so it didn't seem like they were limiting anything. I didn't go inside, so maybe they're spacing out the seats. One good thing I noticed was every single shop had a table set out with hand sanitizer, and people were using it as they went in and as they went out. But again, there's no real enforcement, so if someone didn't feel like doing it, they don't have to. Now, the government's put out this 3 C's guideline, which is avoid closed spaces, crowded spaces, and close communication with other people. The point the government also made was that where these 3 circles overlap is actually the most dangerous spot to be. And unfortunately, as many precautions as they were taking here, it did contain all 3 C's. And so it was a little bit dangerous for people to be there in such a big group. AEON Mall, which owns Koshigaya LakeTown and malls throughout Japan, is obviously making a lot of efforts to reduce the possibility of infection and trying to make the situation better. However, I feel like more needs to be done if they really want to prevent this pandemic from spreading. It's not that far from Tokyo, so if you're living in Japan or you're visiting Japan in the future, I would definitely recommend checking it out. We love going there, even just for the awesome Hawaiian burgers. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Essentially, I'm doing everything I can on my end to take every precaution possible, and I hope that Japan can step up their precaution game in the future so that places like Koshigaya LakeTown or other big crowded areas in Japan are running a bit safer than they are currently at the moment. I hope everyone out there is staying safe too and taking all the proper precautions. As always, your eyes in Japan, nomadic Gaijin.